Hello and welcome. If you're like me, you've invited certain people into your home for decades, not as guests, but as part of the family. Their morning chatter is the soundtrack to your coffee. Their laughter, their playful bickering, the way they look at each other after all these years, it's a familiar comfort. For millions, Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos have been that couple, a beacon of vivacious energy and a seemingly unshakable partnership. Their love story, which began with a whirlwind romance on a soap opera set, felt like a real-life fairy tale we all got to watch unfold, right there on our television screens. But what happens when the fairy tale is interrupted by a knock on the door from the one thing you never invited? Reality. A reality so stark and unyielding, it threatens to shatter the very glass slipper. Today, we're not just talking about a headline. We're going behind the glossy facade of celebrity and into the heart of a human experience that, at its core, resonates with every single one of us who has loved, feared, or faced a tomorrow that felt uncertain. This is a story about a diagnosis, yes, but more importantly, it's a story about the quiet, ferocious strength that emerges when life demands it. So, settle in. This might not be the story you expect, but it may be the one you need to hear. The day began like any other in their sun-drenched New York apartment. The city's hum was a distant orchestra, and the routine was a well-worn dance. Kelly, ever the dynamo, was likely mapping out the day's schedule: school runs, show segments, dinner plans. Mark, the steady anchor, was probably nearby, reading the paper or teasing her about her endless energy. It was normal. It was safe. It was everything a morning should be. But then, the phone rang. It wasn't a loud, clanging ring, but in the memory of that day, it would forever echo like a gong. It was a call from the doctor's office. Mark had been for some routine tests, the kind we're all encouraged to do at a certain age, the kind we schedule with a sense of dutiful boredom, never truly believing they will yield anything but a clean bill of health. He took the call in his study, closing the door. Kelly remembers the silence that followed. It was a silence that grew, swelling to fill the entire apartment, pushing the air out of the rooms. Minutes felt like hours. When Mark finally emerged, his face, usually so expressive and warm, crinkling around the eyes with a ready smile, was a mask of composed shock. He didn't cry. He didn't fall to his knees. He simply looked at the woman he had loved since he was 25, and in his eyes, she saw the landscape of their future shift irrevocably. The news was a rare, progressive, neurological condition. The name was complex, clinical, cold. It wasn't immediately life-threatening, but it was a thief in the night, one that threatened to slowly, insidiously, steal his coordination, his balance, the very physicality that was so intrinsic to who he was, the strong, vibrant man who moved with a quiet grace. He explained it calmly, methodically, as if trying to armor her against the blow by making it sound manageable. But Kelly Ripa, the woman who shares so much with her audience, was in that moment utterly and terrifyingly alone with her husband and this new, frightening vocabulary. The world for a moment went completely still. And then it shattered. Now, if this were a movie, this is the point where the music would swell dramatically and the scene would fade to black. But life isn't a movie. There are no convenient cuts. There's just the aftermath, the picking up of the pieces. The first piece was the children. How do you tell your kids that the rock of your family, their dad, is facing something that can't be fixed with a hug or a bandage? They sat together, as a family, in the living room that had witnessed so much joy, and they were honest. They didn't sugarcoat the reality, but they framed it with hope. We are a team, and this is just a new challenge for our team. In that moment, they weren't celebrities, they were parents, building a fortress of love and honesty around their children. The next piece was the show. Live with Kelly and Mark. How do you walk onto a brightly lit set with a live audience and cameras rolling and pretend that your world hasn't just been tilted off its axis? For Kelly, the professional who has always preached the show must go on, it felt like an impossible task. But she did it. And Mark did it. They showed up. Their banter was still there, but those of us who watched closely might have seen a new depth in their interactions. A lingering hand on a shoulder, a look that held a universe of unspoken fear and unwavering support. Their partnership was no longer just about love and laughter. It was now a lifeline. And this is where the real story begins. This is the part that transcends the headline. This diagnosis, as heartbreaking as it is, has become a catalyst for a profound new chapter in their love story. It has forced a slowing down. The frantic pace of their lives has been replaced by a more intentional rhythm. A quiet dinner at home is no longer just a meal. It's a cherished moment of connection. A walk in the park isn't just exercise. It's a celebration of the simple ability to be present together. Kelly has become Mark's fiercest advocate, researching, learning, and ensuring he feels supported, not pitied. And Mark, with his inherent strength, has shown a vulnerability that has only deepened their bond. He allows her to care for him, not because he is weak, but because their love is strong enough to hold this too. Their fairy tale wasn't destroyed. It was simply rewritten in a language more real, more raw, and more powerful than any script could provide. It's a story that reminds us that the greatest love isn't just about celebrating the good times. It's about who shows up, hand firmly in yours when the news is bad. It's about finding a way to laugh in the face of fear. It's about the courage to be vulnerable and the strength to be a soft place to fall. So, when you see them on your screen tomorrow morning, remember this story. See the resilience behind their smiles, and let it remind you of the incredible power we all hold, the power to face the uncertain, to love through the fear, and to find a new kind of happy even when the path ahead looks nothing like the one you planned.